welcome to today's edition of 600 Seconds of Trading. My name is Alejandro Zambrano, Chief Market Analyst with TradeCaptain.com and Amana Capital. Sorry guys to keep you waiting. Unfortunately, I got hold up on my way to the office. We're going to take a look at the main currency pairs, say Bitcoin, DAX 30, also gold and crude oil. Before we start though, I need to stress the trading financial markets is unfortunately risky, and there's a genuine risk that we'll lose all of our invested money. So please bear that in mind before you start trading. There's a risk disclosure link down here as well. Don't forget, of course, to follow us on YouTube, Twitter. When you starting to trade, or even if you have a lot of trading experience, it's always good to get different inputs from different people. Obviously, take any idea you find and turn it into your own. Never, use anyone's ideas and methods blindly. And just to get ideas. That's what I do. I follow a lot of people on Twitter, as an example, and for crypto and things like that, I follow people on YouTube. And that way, I learn a lot and get different ideas. Sometimes they confirm my view, sometimes they don't, and that's always good. Okay, let's begin, and we'll begin with the euro. So the euro is under pressure today. It's moving down a little bit more than I thought it would do. I thought the market would try to, actually, it technically still is, in an okay level. I thought between 24.15 and 122.75 this market would bottom out, but as you can see here, it's moving a little bit too close for my own liking here, and it is possible to make an adjustment, which is just to work with the low down here instead of this one here. So just doing something like this, and in essence just be bullish above this level here, because it does look like the market wants to correct maybe a little bit lower, maybe even get it spiked out before heading to the upside. So I am bullish, the trend is bullish, and it's obviously bullish above this level. It's just that I think I got a little bit carried away and focused too much on this level here, which could be touched without actually that change in the outlook for the pair in any major way. Fib wise, I took a fib from this low to this high, but if we take a fib from the whole low, from this low all the way up, then these are the levels we're focusing on. So we just had a 50% correction, more or less, of the big move, and we had a 1.68% correction of the big move, and the market should really look to stabilize at this level if it's a genuine uptrend, right? So it should really stabilize here, push to the upside. When it goes up, stop definitely goes below this low, take out the high, stop goes below whatever low we're working with down here. So again, no major change to the outlook for the euro dollar. It's just that I would adjust the key level here a bit, move it down a little bit so we're not getting into trouble if we just get spiked out. Here's the price of Bitcoin, and this is working out well. So we turned bullish already at 9,074. The market is now up with a nice 23%. At one point it was up with about 27%. And it's meeting up with challenge here, right? It's meeting up with challenge, and it's not the most optimal time to add to any long positions here. I think we should just wait. Could obviously go down a bit, but eventually I think we're gonna take out this high and go lower here, up here. So I'm just maintaining my long position here. I'm long myself from the breakout, so I'm just enjoying that. I think we could probably reduce the key level just a little bit to the low here. Actually, let's just get rid of everything like that. So the first idea of an entry was down here, and I think if we just work with this level down here as a key level or a stop, I think that should be fine. This market, just looking at this, you have clear resistance here, followed by this level up here, and just looking at this, if we go down to 10,000, I mean that wouldn't be a big deal in any way, and might even plunge a little bit lower, but I guess as long as straight above it. Actually, we'll just leave it at 8,000. I'm sorry for moving around the levels too much, but if it does like this, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If it goes down, people buy. Alternative is just trade sideways and then take out that high, and the market could head to the upside. This would be an okay setup if the market just is allowed to trade sideways for a bit, because we need to have some sort of a nice base here, and when we have that base, we can increase the stop, and we will use the base as the stop, and then when we took out the high, we just turn bullish. To give you an idea how that could work, if you click up here on technical analysis, yesterday I published this setup or this idea, which is Litecoin. So this is Litecoin. It's a 4-hour chart, and here you can see that the market moved up, traded sideways. Now I said yesterday if we take out this high, this market could head to the upside, which it did, and now we have a nice low here to work with. So some people, they bought some more here, and they're probably using stops just below here. I bought down here already, and let me show you how that looks like. You see, took out that level. It doesn't have to be that this level is going to hold, but it's an increased likelihood that this will hold. So for example, myself, I mean, if it goes, I wouldn't allow this. I mean, if it trades below 200 here, the actual level is 216, 206. You know, I'm not going to be happy, but there's no way I'm going to allow this first position to go all the way back, and I'm going to get out of here at break even, because take out the low, it could go down and then up, and then we'll see what happens, right? So this is, if we have some similar setup in Bitcoin, then that could be interesting. So trading sideways, and then that push, that allows us to be bullish. If not, we just need to wait for that correction. This is crude oil, and this is looking all right. I mean, it really struggles to trade to the upside. I think we can maybe give this a little bit more time. The first idea that we discussed with you guys here was to buy at $60, so $60 per barrel. The market is now at 62.12. I think this could squeeze itself a little bit higher, and then me up here at 63 would probably be a better opportunity to book profits. That's what I think the market, well, that's what I would have done, right? It doesn't mean that you on the other side here needs to do that, right? The alternative here is that pulls back to 60.73, and I think from these levels, traders are probably gonna look to turn bullish. That's why you can always look at clues. I always like to take a look at what's going on with, you know, Brent crude oil. That's the other big benchmark, or the actual benchmark really. And here, this is Brent crude, and the market here is moving up a bit, and yeah, it looks a little bit tired. Fib, see how much we corrected. So we corrected the first fib. Would it be unlikely if we correct 50%? No, not at all. I wouldn't necessarily trade this directly, but I suspect that maybe from pretty much $64 a barrel, something like that, 64.20, traders are probably gonna try to do something and lift this a little bit higher. Now this is something really interesting. So, you know, that's just a short-term setup. How about the long-term setup? Well, we could potentially be creating a major head and shoulders here. This would be the head, this would be the left shoulder, and this would be the right shoulder information right now. The trick trade here is to treat it not as a head and shoulders until in fact we actually end, or until we actually trigger here. So obviously, if we take out the trend line down here, or the neckline, I like to use horizontal support and resistance plus the neckline. Then that gives, that's a 61.94 level. So that would give us a target, because we need to take the head versus the neckline, and that could potentially lead to a decline down to 52. So that's a very interesting setup. Would have huge impact on the dollar CAD if that would happen, Russian ruble as well, but obviously that hasn't happened. So for now, that dip pushed to the upside. Here is gold, And the gold just moved down to the buy zone. If one is interested to go long, I'm bullish here, much like the euro. I'm bullish above 13.14. So this spike, which is a low created on Wednesday last week, and fib from this low to this high shows that we just corrected a little bit more than 50%. So we reached the buy zone. So far it's looking all good, in a sense that all these candles are very small and the market really struggles to move to the downside. It's a bit different when you have these big candles like this one here, because that just kind of tells us that they're probably going to have more of a sell-off. So for now it's all good. Obviously you have not a single green candle here, so there's many different ways of doing this. Just waiting for some sort of reversal. In other words, waiting for some stabilization, maybe a green candle. If not, the overall trend is bullish. So if you don't want to bother too much with that, I do still think the market's going to try to carve out a low here and then head to the upside. Now, if you didn't notice, gold and euro dollar are highly correlated. As well, if you look at the pound dollar, highly correlated. The dollar yen is highly negatively correlated. So all of these pairs right now, it's all about the dollar. Nobody's actually buying euros because they want to buy euros specifically, or buying pounds because they want to buy pounds specifically. It's more that people are, at least today, buying dollars. So we need to bear that in mind. So if you hold one euro dollar long position and then one pound dollar and maybe $1 yen short, it's probably not a good idea, just because they're all highly correlated right now. This is the DAX 30, and the DAX 30, let me just adjust the axis. So the DAX 30 is bullish, and it is bullish above really 12,062. If you're looking at from a long-term perspective, don't want to bother with all the short-term setups or levels, then just maintain a bullish bias above 11,861. This is the low, which is also the August low. Last year, a few days ago, on the 8th of February, we said that traders are probably going to buy 12,260, and they did. And now the market is slowly heading to the upside. If you're looking for some sort of a little scalp move or something like that, then as I've been saying down here, people are probably going to buy and lift this to the upside. I think this is exactly the same level we looked at yesterday. I think it is. So far, looking all good. And that is today's edition of 600 Seconds of Trading. Today we have a webinar. It's a webinar that we called Trading Psychology webinar, and the title of that is Avoid Being a Victim of Poor Trading Psychology. It's a presentation, takes about half an hour, 45 minutes, and it's gonna take place today at midday London time, and it's going to give you introductions to some tips and tricks on how to become better managing trading psychology. It is a big issue. A lot of people just have worries by opening up positions. They get really stressed. The fact of losing money just scares them, and this could help you overcome that. And then there's other levels of trading psychology. For example, a lot of people can trade their own account because they know their own limits, but they can't help other people, because if they do, they start to become stressed, and that affects their analysis in a bad way, and they get a bias and so on and so on. So there's many different layers of trading psychology. I'm going to introduce you guys to some tips and tricks in this webinar, and of course, if you have questions during that webinar about trading psychology, then we'll talk about that. So join us for this special educational webinar today. If you're a member of Trade Captain, then it's very straightforward. You just need to sign in. Click here to sign in. If you're not a member, just register with your name, phone, email, and you're in. And that's it. That's today's market update. I want to thank everybody that joined me today for the live session, and as well everybody that's watching the recording. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks so much, Sandy. And thanks so much, Juan, that joined me in the chat box this morning. Have a good day, guys. Thanks.